In 2016, an unexpected TV deal gave the Golden State Warriors enough capital to sign Kevin Durant while keeping 3 other max-level players on their roster. They would go to 3 straight NBA Finals, win 2, and enter the conversation of the greatest dynasty ever. But even that wasn't the greatest miracle in Warriors history. In fact, the Warriors franchise did something even crazier in 2007. They pulled off the greatest miracle in NBA history, and they did it with a team that drunkenly chose captains and didn't have a fully healthy starting lineup until the 62nd game of the season. That team was a party, with home games that brought out celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Jessica Alba, Kate Hudson, and Owen Wilson. In fact, Oracle Arena got so loud, it became known as the Roracle. But even crazier than the Roracle's volume in the playoffs was how those Warriors made those playoffs. It was a playoff run that pissed off Mark Cuban, inspired one fan to spend $7,000 just to hype other fans up, and left an entire nation believing. This is a ClutchPoint original documentary on the We Believe Warriors and the greatest upset in NBA history. The Dubs were in the cellar, stuck with endless lottery picks that they wasted for 13 playoff-less years. But when the team traded for all-star point guard Baron Davis in 2005, pairing him with homegrown star Jason Richardson, they finally had the makings of a potent backcourt. In 2006, the Warriors brought in Don "NELLIE" Nelson to be the new head coach. NELLIE had previously coached the Warriors in the Run TMC era of the early 90s. With his signature small ball style that hadn't yet swept the league, Nelson ran a fast-paced run-and-gun offense that was ahead of its time. His goal? Maximize the talents of Baron Davis. They surrounded BD and Jay Rich with Mike Dunleavy Jr., Troy Murphy, Matt Barnes, Mikhail Petrus, Andris Biedrins, Adonal Foyle, and Monte Ellis. Clearly, they were far from a playoff contender, and Nelson needed more speed and more shooting. So, the Dubs made moves, trading Dunleavy and Murphy away in an 8-player deal for Steven Jackson and Al Harrington. The Indiana Pacers were eager to move on from Jackson and his off-court troubles, and the Warriors thought he'd fit Nellie's scheme perfectly. When Jackson arrived, Nelson took him and Baron Davis out to a bar in Oakland. In the midst of a night of heavy drinking, NELLIE named Jackson and Davis his team captains. It characterized the loose, relaxed atmosphere around the team. One practice, Nelson came with his dog, told the team he was going to a baseball game that day, and they would run practice by themselves. On the court, the trade didn't magically turn their season around, and they were still on track for another lottery year. Injuries prevented the whole team from playing together until March, with just 21 games remaining. Their record stood at 26-35, having lost 6 games in a row, and they were 4 games out of the 8th spot in the West. Then, one night, they faced the Pistons, the top seed in the East. Finally fully healthy, the Warriors beat them by 18 points. Suddenly, a tiny sliver of hope crept in. On the plane ride back to Oakland, they calculated their playoff odds. It was doable, but they needed a miracle. Fortunately for the OG Warriors, their passionate fan base made a miracle doable. One fan in particular made it affordable. Paul Wong was a season ticket holder for the Warriors that year. He remembers well the story of his wife throwing a self-help book at him, telling him to read it and put more effort into their marriage. The move backfired on his wife when Wong focused his new positive attitude on basketball. In the Warriors' next home game, Wong brought a homemade sign to the game. He would continue to bring homemade signs and pass them out for free to his fellow fans. Over that next month, Wong spent approximately $7,000 of his own money passing out signs at home games. The message on it was simple and positive. We believe. But that message became a movement. The Warriors finished 16-5 since beating Detroit, the best in the NBA in that stretch. Sealing it with a victory in the last game of the season, the Warriors had done the impossible, they made the playoffs for the first time since 1994. But the real miracle was just beginning. As the 8th seed, they drew the top team in the Western Conference, the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs were a juggernaut, finishing second in the NBA in offensive rating and led by Dirk Nowitzki, who was later named MVP. They were thinking championship, but Don Nelson, former coach and GM of the Mavs, had other plans. From 1997 to 2005, Nelson ran the Mavs. In '98, he acquired 2 future stars, Nowitzki and Nash, through a crafty draft day trade. But in 2005, Nelson stepped down as coach when his relationship with owner Mark Cuban became dysfunctional. This brings us to 2007. When the series started, no one gave the Warriors a shot. But Nelson laid out a game plan on how to slow the German 7-footer. The plan was to stay small, throw smaller athletic wings to guard Nowitzki, and to force him into situations he wasn't comfortable in. It worked. In Game 1, the Warriors rolled to the upset behind Baron Davis's 33 points and stifling defense that held Nowitzki to just 25% from the field. The Mavs evened the series and claimed Game 2 at home, so the series shifted to Oakland. By now, We Believe went from a message to a movement, to a mantra every fan in the Roracle wore on a golden shirt. Their first playoff game in 13 years, and the gold-clad crowd roared with every basket. The Warriors rode the energy to an 18-point victory. However, in Game 4, the Mavs came back swinging. The Warriors struggled, but the fans could sense there was magic in the air when Baron Davis banked in a half-court shot right at the halftime buzzer. Late in the fourth, with the game hanging in the balance, the speedy Warriors took control with a 10-0 run. Golden State would edge out the Mavs 103-99 and take a commanding 3-1 series lead. Nowitzki led Dallas to a win at home in Game 5 to set up Game 6 back in Oakland. In front of an electric sea of yellow, the Warriors delivered the knockout punch. Steven Jackson led the way with 33 points, Dirk Nowitzki scored 8 points, and it was over. The Warriors won 25 less games than the Mavs that season, but eliminated them by 25 points in Game 6, and the miracle was complete. The 25-win difference represented the largest playoff upset in NBA history. The Mavericks, who were in the finals just 1 year prior, were stunned. That anger boiled over on Nowitzki's walk back to the locker room, where he threw a trash can, or some think it was a chair, at the wall outside of the visiting locker room. It left a hole in the wall that was later memorialized with a We Believe shirt and Nowitzki's autograph that he signed years later. After their Game 6 victory, the Warriors players celebrated as if they had just won the finals. To do what they did for this crowd in this community after so long felt like a championship. The Warriors would go on to lose in the second round to the Utah Jazz, but not before an iconic moment to wrap up the We Believe era in Oakland. A monstrous dunk by Baron Davis over premier shot blocker AK-47. It sent Oracle into an absolute frenzy one last time. The Warriors were eliminated in the second round, but their run did so much more. Their small ball style eventually hit the rest of the league, championed later by none other than the Golden State Warriors several years down the line, leading to multiple championships. But for the ones who were there in 2007, it was special. Both media members and fans alike all swear that Oracle, the one during the We Believe run, was the loudest they'd ever heard in an NBA arena. Before he coached the Dubs, Steve Kerr said the Oracle was the greatest atmosphere he'd ever experienced in a basketball game in the NBA. And that's not hyperbole. This place was so loud. The team, though, broke up soon after. Jason Richardson was traded that summer, and Baron Davis left in free agency the year after. In 2009, the Warriors drafted a small guard from Davidson who brought championship basketball. But that team in 2007 brought something we may never see again.